We're going to cross now to Kharkiv in the east of Ukraine, talk to our correspondent Gulliver Cragg, who joins us from there. Gulliver, there's been quite a lot of hope. It's the word I would use from Ukrainians over the last few days. We've seen these advances into new regions in the east. But now, is all that dashed by what we've heard from Vladimir Putin?
Oh no, I wouldn't go so far as to say that, because I think a lot of Ukrainians expected this from Vladimir Putin. Speculation already yesterday was that he would announce some kind of mobilisation, and this issue of using potentially nuclear weapons, well, he often reminds the world that Russia has nuclear weapons, and now he's said again that Russia will use all means at its disposal. It's not exactly new for him to wave that spectre, if you like, but it is a very explicit confirmation that the strategy here was exactly what analysts thought that it would be, that Russia would use these sham referenda in these territories of Ukraine that it currently occupies, to then start calling these territories of the Russian Federation, and accusing Ukraine, if it continues this counter-offensive, which it plans to do, of attacking Russian territory and therefore justifying Russia using all means at its disposal. That's the direct quote. And he also, to just add some more emphasis to it, insisted that it's not a bluff. What can Ukrainians do except hope that it is a bluff? That's a hard question to answer. People here are not saying that they're running scared or let's call off the counter-offensive. Far from it. But certainly there is a degree of anxiety, a level of anxiety that has increased in the country all the same.
And let's not forget, of course, it was only last night that no doubt that anxiety went up as well, with the announcement that these 4 regions are going to hold these referendums.
Yes, and let's not forget that they have been talking about organising referendums in these regions for months now, the Russians, and continually postponing them. And the analysis was that the reason for that was that they were discovering that they just really hardly had any support at all in these regions, particularly Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, which were only occupied since the 24th of February. I think in parts of the Donbass, Donetsk and Luhansk regions, where people have been under Russian occupation de facto since 2014, and therefore living in a media landscape where it's very hard to access anything other than Russian propaganda, there are somewhat different attitudes towards Russia. But clearly Russia does not have the support in these regions to hold anything like proper referendums, even faking them a little bit. You know, that's why they kept postponing them for such a long time. That's what everybody in Ukraine seems to think anyway. And so now they've really just decided to organise the referendum at 3 days' notice. It's essentially not even really pretending to construct some kind of even vaguely credible result for these referendums, and I'm sure that that's what the Ukrainian leadership will, a point that the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will insist upon again when he speaks to the United Nations later today. I guess there we're going to hear a more kind of official version of Ukraine's reaction to this speech.
And just briefly, Gulliver, give us the latest picture of what the situation is on the ground.
Well, there's a lot of fighting overnight, which I could hear actually from the centre of Kharkiv. I believe some targets on the outskirts of the city were hit. The Ukrainian General Staff confirmed that the suburb of Dergachi, actually, where I was yesterday, as it happens, was hit overnight. There was also a strike on the power plant that powers the city of Slovyansk, which is one of the main cities in Donetsk region, the part of Donetsk region that's still controlled by Ukraine. And meanwhile, the Ukrainian forces are trying to consolidate their gains in Kharkiv region and to push the Russians further back, notably across to the other side of the Oskil River, which cuts across the eastern end of Kharkiv region.
Gulliver, thanks very much, Gulliver Cragg.